Thank you, Harry. Hello, everyone. Dear colleagues, and by colleagues, I address not only my fellow professors today, but especially you students, because as you have just heard, we are colleagues in graduating today. You move probably towards something else, an internship, a job, a PhD position, whatever you might want to do next. I indeed am putting an end to more than 10 years of teaching in the Euromaster program, but it is the beginning of what I hope to be more years of guest lectures of a different type of involvement with academia. I am very touched and very honored to be speaking to you today, and I must confess that I am suffering a bit from the imposter syndrome, the feeling of not being worthy enough of being here. I have taken part in many Euromaster graduations, and I have always been impressed by the quality and the caliber of the people who are invited normally to deliver this speech. I have no important job title, I have no particular achievements that would necessarily recommend me, but I am indeed particularly attached to the IS and to teaching in general. And so here come a few things I would like to share with you from the humble viewpoint of someone who was in your shoes and who is now approaching midlife and welcomes the opportunity to look back. So basically my lecture today is going to be about what do I know now and I wish I knew when I was graduating. And these are three things. The first one of them is that all will be fine. I graduated from the Université Libre de Bruxelles, the ULB, just across the campus, and then did a master's degree in the US and came back to Belgium for love. So when I was in your shoes, finishing my master's, all I knew was that I had to get out of Hanover, New Hampshire and back to Belgium to finally reunite with the men I loved. This was in 2003, when Romania, my home country, was not yet a member of the European Union, and when a work permit was required in order to work and live in Belgium. Employers were reticent to hire Romanian citizens, even for internships, so my first few months back were a harsh, almost traumatic experience. I remember waking up in the morning and starting to look for vacancies and to send CVs. I was at first confident. I had, after all, graduated first in my year at the ULB and had an Ivy League master's degree. But more than 200 applications later, I was less confident. I got invited to 3 interviews. Nothing turned out positively. And then, all of a sudden, I had 2 offers. One for an internship with the European Parliament and one for a PhD scholarship here at the VUB. So I ended up having to make a choice and went for the PhD offer, simply because it was for a longer duration and I dreaded having to restart the whole application process again. The 4 years I spent here at the VUB were the most enriching and amazing experience one could wish for. I discovered the passion for research that I had somehow ignored before. I discovered the love of teaching that stays with me until today. I worked with smart, interesting people, and to top it all, I was being paid to do exactly what I liked best. On the personal side, love grew stronger. I got married to the man I came back for, and our first child was born 2 weeks after I defended my PhD thesis. Towards the end of my PhD period, somewhere in 2006-2007, the first competition for Romanian officials was published by the European institutions. I passed it and I joined the commission where I've been working for the past 12 years now. So you see, things did turn out just fine. I could have not known this when I was struggling to find a job, an internship, anything that would pay rent when I was a fresh graduate. I still vividly remember the anxiety, the fear, the stress, the feelings of despair and sadness. Even if somebody would have sat me down back then and told me that everything would be fine, I would have probably not believed it. I was, after all, an unemployed high achiever. But I have come to believe that there is a natural way in which our personal story unfolds that often seems to have its own logic, unreadable by us at moments. And I have come to trust it, despite the researcher in me always wanting tangible proof for everything. Now I am again at a crossroads in my professional life, thinking about what I want to do next and testing different options. But I find the process much easier now, precisely because I have learned to trust life and what it throws at us. You are most certainly pondering the next steps in your professional advancement, applying intensively or exploring opportunities. Do not take negative answers as negative judgments on who you are. They are just moments that somehow guide you to the meetings that do need to happen, to the people that will matter in your life, lives to the positions that will fulfill you. Trust yourselves, but also trust life and the path that you will ultimately find. The second thing I wish I knew is how privileged I am. I grew up in a middle-class family in communist Romania. I experienced firsthand the harshness of post-communist transition societies, and I spent my student years chasing every possible scholarship. When I first came to Brussels with an Erasmus scholarship in September 2000, I lived with 400 euros per month, rent included. I did not consider myself as privileged, but I was. After all, I had the chance to study abroad, in spite of how economically difficult it was. I had the chance to learn, to grow, to travel, to meet interesting people, to come closer and closer to opportunities my parents had not even dreamed of. You are yourselves in a privileged position. You are graduating today from top programs in a top European university. Even if your academic career stops here, you have already acquired an impressive education. You not only have strong academic backgrounds, but you also master now niche high-level topics, be it in law or in the field of EU decision-making. You have most certainly traveled a bit. You are surrounded by gifted people. You will surely find your way in life. This is a big privilege, and I don't mean it in a negative or demeaning way, quite the contrary. It is the kind of privilege that comes with big responsibilities. Be kind, be open, be curious. In a world that many label as post-truth, in a world where being loud seems to be more effective than being right, in a world where more and more people choose to build walls and isolate themselves in ideological bubbles, we have a moral duty to embody the values at risk. And this moral duty comes precisely from our privileged position. We must stand up for openness, for inclusiveness, for kindness. And we must defend the values that brought us to where we are in terms of personal journeys today. Defending the European project is part of this. The European Union is not to be taken for granted, even if for most of you it is a reality you were born into. I was not. And I remember not only the endless waiting at the Belgian embassy in Bucharest to get a student visa, but also at a very visceral level, the feeling of living in a totalitarian state. Democracies are fragile constructions, easily undone, and it is enough to look eastwards to see what I mean. You will most certainly work in public administrations, in law firms, in interest groups, in academia. Your work, whatever its concrete form or content, will have an effect, even if in a tiny, indirect measure, on the quality of democracy and on the sustainability of the European project. You have what it takes to have a positive contribution, to add your tiny grain of sand to the consolidation of democracy in general and of the EU in particular. You also have what it takes to constructively challenge the current state of affairs. Be critical. Do not take things for granted. Be creative and do please challenge the status quo. But do not lose track of the bigger context and stay clear of the danger of throwing the baby with the bathwater. Yes, the ordinary legislative procedure is complicated. Yes, comitology might be in need of a reform. Yes, the appointment procedure for the EU top jobs, and we've seen it over the past few days and weeks, have mysterious logics. Fresh ideas about how to do things better are more welcome than ever. But so is a powerful statement of support at all levels for what the European Union is and what it stands for. You now have the expertise to join, in your own way, the chorus of voices that are positively critical and unfalteringly supportive of the European construction. There are many things I wish I knew when I was graduating, but I promised I would stop at 3, so here is the last one. Feeling and showing gratitude does not diminish one's importance or self-worth, quite the contrary. We are all here because there were people on our way that helped make us into what we are. I would therefore want to acknowledge and pay homage to your families and friends. You did the studying, you wrote the thesis, you passed the exams, and you surely have lots of things to be proud of. But I do doubt that you would have achieved all of this without the often invisible support of the ones close to you. Take a moment to acknowledge it, to be aware that we, proud self-made women and men, are as much the result of our own efforts as of the encounters we make. That who we are is, to a large extent, the reflection of the love, support, and affection that those around us surround us with. That we do not grow in isolation. Be grateful for your support squad, but also be the support others need in whatever you do. We all like to be surrounded by nice people at home, at work. Be that nice colleague that praises good contributions. Be that mentor that helps an intern develop new professional skills. Be that teacher that stimulates students to think, and be that friend that is always there to help. I have no reason to doubt that you will all go very far. You are certainly well equipped for a good career, irrespective of where you will choose to invest your efforts in. I wish you all the very best in your personal and professional life. I wish you to have the wisdom to make the right decisions, to trust life, to grow into who you want to become, and above all, to be kind to others, but also to yourself. Thank you.